I'm currently sitting at a different gazebo than what I usually do. It's, the same temperature as it usually is out. Kind of cold, but not really. It was kind of warm today, though, for some reason. Georgia just likes to be bipolar and choose whatever weather, kind of wants at the time. There's no real pattern to it. I don't even know why there's even weather jobs in the state. I mean, it's practically pointless to predict anything in the state of Georgia. And, the process of the day, very similar to every other day. Go to class and whatnot. I mean, there's nothing real special occurred today. And I guess what I should talk about what's happened so far is really the reason why I've kind of been making these podcasts. I mean, I make it to help people. Even for the few of you who listen to it currently, I know it helps you guys a lot. I mean, you guys have sent me in. You thanked me throughout a lot of this. But anyways, it's that throughout the day it's been a burden. Just kind of walking around doing everything. It's I can't quite really put my finger on it. What's been happening? It's just things have been kind of rough. My emotions have kind of been twisted a lot. So I'm not exactly sure what's been going on. But, like I said with the previous podcast, you just got to accept that there are times where, things kind of get rough and you get sad. And you just kind of, you push through it. I mean, it's kind of hypocritical to some extent because I haven't done certain things like I should have, which, like practicing my instrument and whatnot. I haven't done that. So in a sense, I don't have a lot of room to talk about what I said yesterday. But yeah, it's hard. Going day to day when you're feeling like this because every little action you take just takes an extra 20% to do, and that 20% it's awful. But one thing that kept me going throughout the day is a lot of these messages I've been receiving from people, just people from high school that I haven't talked to in a while, people I know here. They're they tell me they listen to the whole thing and they're shocked. It's like they tell me it's been helping them. Like they can relate to it. Like they like listening to it. That's really kind of gotten me through the day is that I've put something out there that's able to help even just a few people. Because that's I had a friend ask me today what my plan was with were with these. I mean obviously it'd be awesome to be able to reach people on a lot wider scale. But, I make it so I can share with a lot of people I know who are down or having problems with these type of things and whatnot. And that's why I mainly do it. I mean, it'd be a bonus to make it so I'm reaching a wider audience. But that's not the goal at the moment. That being said, I highly encourage, and it would, mean the world to me if this can be shared and whatnot. If you have someone who's going through specifically what I'm talking about, and they don't really know how to get through it, share this with them. We live in a day and age where we just kind of like to shove videos in people's faces and podcasts, and we're kind of selfish with it. We just we want people to be interested in what we're interested. But when you share these, if they're really down, just tell them like, hey, it's 25 minutes. I mean, when you're in the car going to work, when you're walking around and whatnot, maybe you're doing some work, even playing a video game. I mean, when I play video games, I like to listen to podcasts while I'm doing it. It makes it so I'm not just, I don't get bored as easily, but just, share it. And also on top of that, if you have any questions, about what's happened, what I've said, what do certain things mean? Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm gonna put my number, somewhere where people can reach out, and also give me ideas to talk about. One of the best things I do in life is talk. I mean, I don't do a lot of things right in life, but one thing I could definitely say I do right is talk. I mean, if I wanted to, I can sit here for an hour and just talk to the computer in front of me and watch the audio bar go up and down. I mean, I can do it. It's not a problem. And I want you guys to give me ideas to talk about, because I know the problems that we face are, they vary from person to person. Like it's not the same for every person out there. So I want people to be able to come to me and ask, what's my spin on it? I'll be glad to answer any of that, even if it's just one person. I mean, I've already done that once in the last podcast. And I enjoy it, talking about these things. But the main thing I want to talk about today is, kind of going back to what's been going on, with me currently. At a high level, I'm just down in the dumps, just for no particular reason. It's not like something happened to me and now I'm upset. It's not that quite simple. One thing that's been on my mind is, I've been talking to a few people about is that, the choices we make once we kind of transition into adult life, specifically college, because I think in America these days that's, the number one subject when it comes to becoming of age. And, here at Kennesaw, I kind of feel like I'm in a box. It's if you're not, part of Greek life and part of, circles that party a lot, then you're not out doing those things. I mean, it's not like a lot of these other campuses where it's, easily accessible. You can have fun regardless of where you go. There's plenty of people, plenty, parties and whatnot. It's not that, not quite the same here at Kennesaw, and I knew that when I signed up for it. I had an option to go to the University of Georgia. The professor there, the trombone professor there, he loved me. And, I even knew some of the guys in admission. Like, there'd be no problem with me getting in and having a blast there. But, what made me come to Kennesaw was, I was smart, and I selected here because of how it would benefit me for my major, which is, performance and bass trombone. And, it's been bothering me several times throughout the year that it's like I'm in a glass box, and I can't quite get out. I can't socialize. Like, I'm a very social creature. It's kind of like, you hear those, not hear, but you read those poetry and stories about and analogies about, like, you clip a bird's wings and put them in a cage. They'll go mad. Birds need to fly, and I feel that in a lot of ways is me when it comes to being sociable. Like, I can't go on without being able to talk to people every day and social and meeting new people. Like, I love it. And it's irony that I'm in a place where it's kind of hard to get traction. A lot of people tell me it's, because I'm a freshman and whatnot, but I mean, it's, I still feel like I'm in a box. And, that's, a lot of people, they'll point out to me, it's like, oh, it's just because you're trying to look for a girl. I mean, that's not necessarily true. One thing I hate about here is that I've only got one, maybe two friends that'll sit with me on a Sunday afternoon and watch the Falcons. I'll have friends, though, up in UGA where there's like 20 guys watching the Falcons game, and it's just, this awesome experience. And I don't have a lot of sports friends. I don't have a lot of guy friends I can do that type of stuff with. And, so it's not just dating necessarily. And I guess the thing to kind of take from this is that we do take, we put in a lot of sacrifices when we become adult. At least, you should when you become an adult. You need to start making those sacrifices. And for me, sacrificing that just overbearing social and, environment at UGA, giving that up, it was a big for me. Because, I would have loved to have been there and, part of the Red Coat Band and communicating and whatnot, being sociable. So, it was a lot to give up. And, I occasionally look on Instagram and I'll see, kids from high school. They're younger than me. They're picking their colleges they want to go to. And a lot of times there's, it's not in depth enough. You got to have a whole bucket list out there. You can't, obviously everyone in the state of Georgia is going to put UGA on their list because it's UGA. Like, that's the dream, is to go there, which is understandable, but, if you're really serious about your major, you need to be looking everywhere. The big schools are not always the best. They have the most money, and they have the most people, and the most staff, but it doesn't make them the best. Here at Kennesaw, it's a smaller staff and a smaller school of music, but it's going to become one day a great school of music, which is why I picked here. And, the bass trombone professor here, Brian, my professor, he kicks more ass than anyone in the school. Like, there's not a person who will groom someone for the next level like he can, which is why I picked here, mainly for him. And I guess I can only explain it through the eyes of a music major, but you know, one thing you got to do when you're looking for colleges is, you got to look at what's the staff like, who's going to be your professor, how's the school ranked, how are all the facilities, don't go for obviously the big and bad. Like here at Kennesaw, they give us thousands upon thousands of dollars of debt for stupid stuff like the commons and housing. I mean, for me, like it's good food, but I can live off of something 50% of that value and be a fourth of the cost. Stuff like that. So don't be wowed by that kind of stuff. But just you got to comb through these universities, and you got to make sure the list is long. For me, I had South Carolina, who had Brad Edwards there, Kennesaw, Brian Hecht, University of Georgia is Josh Bynum. I went out to Jacksonville. All these professors kind of get confused in my head, so I apologize for not remembering all the professors' names. But Jacksonville, Florida State, and then if I wanted to move kind of far away, I could look at schools in Texas and Indiana, which I did, but I didn't really put a lot of thought into it because I don't want to be that far from home. 3.5 hours to Columbia, South Carolina, or I don't know why I'm saying that town wrong or city wrong. You know what I mean? I don't want to be too far. I got this big bucket list, and I met these professors. Came in. You gotta wow these professors. You gotta wow whoever you have to be in front of in order to get into these colleges. You gotta wow them. For me, my parents, they knew this. They taught this to me. They made sure we went out and bought a nice suit. I mean, a real nice suit. I mean, it's not it's the stuff that billionaires wear, but it's nice. Got myself my own bass trombone. Had a great teacher in Holly Lawing, and I had plenty of other things, and plenty of other things at the top of that. But there's really only one thing that really mattered. That was kind of my attitude, my presence. I would walk in the door, look them in the eye, shake their hand, talk to them. Just tell the truth, be an honest person, because I believe in today's world, being honest with not just them but yourself. It doesn't happen often enough. We're not truthful. But anyways, I had all these, great attitude, great, everything else like I stated. And these professors, they heard me play and all that. And after that, they knew they wanted me at the university because I had all the great traits they wanted. I put myself on the market, and they found that the product was a great product. And now I look back on it, and I can honestly say it's very flattering because I had people like Brad Edwards, really wanting me to come up to South Carolina, and he's one of the best trombone teachers in the country. Like he has, he is it. I had, Tom Gibson and Brian Hecht at Kennesaw talking to me. Josh Bynum, who historically has had big trombone studios up in Athens, he's talking to me too. Florida State, I guess the goal is you want these colleges coming for you. And it's a great relationship when you want to be at this university and the university wants you back. I mean, that's a great exchange, and you don't get that a lot of the time. A lot of people, they'll fall into that trap of being wowed. The university will kind of flare something at them, and they'll just kind of take it up. They'll take the bait up. Make sure you're not doing that for any, I guess, young people listening out there. Don't be overwowed by a lot of things. Like I was never big into the campus tours. Going walking all over campus and they're showing you everything. I mean, the facilities are nice and whatnot, but it's about the degree you get and how successful you are with the degree. I mean, that's what really matters in the long run. You don't need to worry about a lot of these big facilities and sports and whatnot, because that's not what's going to get you your degree. I mean, it really isn't. And a lot of kids. I apologize. I'm having to drink water again because your mouth gets dry when you talk a lot. But again, I apologize if you hear a break. That's what it is. Anyways, a lot of kids don't do that. Like I said, they'll take the bait up. and they'll just run with it. You got to make sure these colleges are coming to your door. And another thing is that, there's just mass hysteria about the amount of money you get. And, it might be different for music majors and whatnot. And, getting scholarships is definitely a sign of a university wanting you. And it's great because you're not paying as much. But just know that certain colleges give massive amounts of money for different reasons. Some colleges will give massive amounts of money because you are it. Like, you are the hot shit and every university wants you and you are worth that money. On the flip side of the coin, on that flip side of the coin, there is a university who is desperate and has a lot of money. Like, I knew when I went to Jacksonville, I mean, it's not a bad school, but, it's not doing great at the moment. The music program's not. And they pretty much have to hear me audition. They were prepared to give me a full ride, dorms paid for, food paid for. I would pretty much be going to college for free, which, for any parent, that's unfathomable, to be honest with you. I mean, there's no way to really explain the feeling a parent would have hearing that. But I knew that wasn't the place for me or the place to go. But, they treated me well when I visited and whatnot. And, make sure you are visiting these colleges and getting the best out of them. And they are giving back to you, but not for the wrong reasons. In my experience, and honestly, you've made the right choice if there is a downside. And that doesn't make sense to a lot of extent because you don't want any negatives when you go to college. But I guess to prove the validity of something, kind of seeing the adverse of it and kind of seeing the sacrifice you had to make to get that, it really proves the validity of something. And when, I come here and every day I always think about it. Like, I gave up that, I really did give up a chance to, to go to this huge social school. But, I had to come, I wanted to come here to study with Brian. And, I'll never regret it because Brian, he's the best there is, like I said. But it's that sacrifice I'm always thinking of. And, it'll upset me because, Kennesaw, it'll never really be a huge sociable party school. But on the other side, like I said, the fact that I had to sacrifice something to come here really says something about the university. That there is something here. I encourage everyone who is looking for colleges to do that. I mean, and it's also a part of adult life. Is sacrificing things, and there's many things in life you're going to have to sacrifice, and for me that's the thing that's going to stick with me most. So I guess in a summary, make sure you choose a college that wants you want them back, and there's a give and take in there. Like, it's not, I mean, if you're going to this college full sail and there's just nothing bad, then there's something fishy going on. You're missing something, and you're not going to find out until the first day of school. And a lot of times that happens. They'll end up dropping out. And, another thing I want to talk about college is that it's not necessarily for everyone. I mean, you hear that, but, people still go. And people don't understand is that, at the end of the day, it's the degree is not what, it's what will get you like a desk job. It'll get you a great job, but in terms of success in your life, that's not it. It's, it's simple. It's your motivation, in your work ethic, and there's really no two ways about it. That's it. That's how you succeed in life. The degree is, supposedly you're supposed to get this degree because of that. And people think that, I'm just gonna put in some work, get a degree, and then get a job. I guess that puts you on the short list in life, but to really be successful, it's the work ethic you put in. What happens is that a lot of kids, they'll come to college, and they'll find out they don't have that work ethic. In a lot of ways, I don't think I do. To be honest with you, but that's just my own way of motivating myself. But that's a whole discussion for another podcast. You got to have that work ethic when you come into college. You'll fail. It will eat you up and spit you out. And I don't even know how I've survived this long because I'm in a major that is brutal. Like it will destroy you. And a lot of people either change or drop it entirely in music majors. And that's kind of where I've learned whatever work ethic I have currently is from that. And I hope this podcast will allow most of you to be able to choose correctly once you become of age and you move out into the real world. Because again, college isn't really for everyone. It's about the work ethic, and there are plenty of jobs out there where you're not gonna need something like that. Anyways, this one might be a little shorter than usual. I guess I'm getting better at getting through what I want to talk about faster. Anyways, I'll make sure to post, I guess, my number somewhere. Please do contact me if you have any questions, concerns, comments. I would really appreciate to hear from y'all. Thanks.